Good afternoon or morning, as you might be listening to us, to BBL Supercoach Round 10 and 11 podcast. With me today, I've got a varied crew of Supercoach experts. Well, we're not really experts, but we like to give an opinion. We've got Roscoe. Give a wave, Roscoe.
Hi.
Down the bottom, making his appearance for the first time this year, we've got Big Maxi. There you go, Max.
Hey, Brad. How's it going? Mate, I'm doing very well.
And even bigger, Big Ted. How you going, mate?
G'day, blokes.
Hey.
Pleased to be here.
Oh, excellent. How's your Supercoach going, Ted? Is you
Oh, look, just chipping away. I'm more of a just a head-to-head player in our own leagues, but I'm currently ranked 1745. I'm just a few places behind Roscoe. So we're in the top, there or thereabouts. I don't think we're going to hit it really well this year, but having a go, boys.
Beautiful. And with us as well, as I said a minute ago, we've got Maxi. G'day, Maxi. You want to tell us a bit about yourself? You do a pod yourself. You want to give it a plug and let us know how you're going with your BBL journey?
Yeah, absolutely. Look, I've been involved in cricket now for almost 10 years on the professional side of things after first getting a job at the Sydney Sixers back in the day. These days, though, definitely in the Supercoach side of things, do a little bit of work for the SC Playbook, which is a great group of fellas, awesome bunch of minds, do a podcast every couple of rounds and write lots of good articles for the website as well. As for the team so far this year, not doing too badly, been sort of lurking around the mid-500s for most of the season. Had a couple of good rounds in a row, mostly thanks to Caleb Jewell, the great man from the Hobart Hurricanes, and finished last round up to 175th. So hopefully coming home with a wet sail. Really want to finish top 111 and get one of those drink bottles. I think that'd look really smart in my kitchen.
Bloody good. And just on the SC Playbook, fellas, if you haven't, if you're into your NRL, your AFL now, they've got it all covered actually, and the cricket. Supercoach, do pop onto the website, go give them a look. I use it as a resource all the time. I don't mind admitting that and giving them a plug thereby. And of course, their podcasting is fantastic. I can't wait to some of their NRL sort of content and podcasts. That's going to always a great listen. So welcome, Maxi. Roscoe, how you going? What bit you in the ass this week?
Where do I start? I scored 1102, which dropped me down 20 places to 1738. Just got Ted coming right behind me as well. What bit me in the arse? Well, I had Turner for 14, who didn't bat either games. I had also Josh Brown for 18. I had a couple other subpar scores in there as well. Can't remember who the others were, but there was a couple more. Bit disappointing. I had Nisa for 0 as well. That was another one. Obviously, like everyone else, either captain or vice captain, Matty Short. But other than that, yeah, just two red arrows in a row. So I'm going in the wrong direction, unfortunately. Time to concentrate on head-to-head. So because final start after this round, I think, don't they? Is that right? Pretty sure they do.
That's it.
Yeah, round 11.
Yeah.
Well, now we'll start on mine. Where do I start? Okay, this has happened to everybody who does Supercoach. So here I am. I think I'm coming about 115th, right? And you get home from work and the missus has got this happening, and then you got to start cooking dinner because it's your turn to cook dinner. So you start doing that, and you've got all this shit going on in your life. And there's kids yelling out, and it's all sort of going down. And then I get a quick message from someone that Thornton is not being named. Now I've got about a minute to do my trade. I've gone shit. I've had a panic because I actually all week, and most people know that watch this podcast know I've been spruiking Thornton as a must get just about for that round. So I've just flown into a mad panic, gone into my trades, hit trade, brought in Wes Agar. Now, myself and Roscoe are only talking, I think, about 12 hours prior to that, about how it would be a real weird pod move and probably not a bad one to have Thornton as a vice captain. So then, right, without realising it, I still had the vice captain on Wes Agar. So guess what? I didn't have the vice captain on Matt Short. Instead, I had it on Wes Agar. But the story gets worse. I bring enough in, right? And like I've been doing 10-hour days at work, everything's been going a bit crazy because it works, So I just quickly bring in what I think is enough. Well, guess what? My enough was one Mr. Payne from the Scorchers. Well, guess what? He gets friggin' named, doesn't he? So all of a sudden, my enough, so that I could get, because I've got Ellis sitting on the bench as well. So I'm thinking this is nearly recoverable. I've got Ellis sitting on my bench. He's going to come in as the emergency. Well, that just goes flying out the friggin' window. Payne decides that they're going to play Payne. And not only that, but he then all of a sudden becomes my captain. So that is, but as I said, this happens to everybody when, sometimes we get a bit time poor and we do things. I did something similar a few years ago in NRL, and I did something. I forgot to captain Turbo when everybody else had him. And I think at that time I was coming about fourth. It was just a tragedy, but I still ended up coming not too bad, but it was.
Hey, but it didn't work out too bad for you in the end because you were going to have Agar as your captain who got 67 and Payne ended up getting 85. So it wasn't the worst result in the world for you. You actually were better off with Payne.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Actually, as it turned out, I was better off with Payne, who just quietly doesn't look too bad. I'll be holding him. So, it wasn't too bad. All right, so let's get on to what we're thinking about trading this week. We might start off with you, Max. What are you thinking this week as your buys?
It's a really tough week, I think. Typically in these single game weeks, I just love to load up on as many all-rounders as possible in my batting slots, but there's just not that many who are going that well at the minute. The last few rounds, we've seen batters start to really emerge, score some really, really big runs and picking a bowler is like really, really hard. So the guys I've got on my list this week, first and foremost, I think everyone will pick him will be Travis Head, just because of the form he's in, the damage he can do, and a pretty good matchup with the Brisbane Heat at Adelaide Oval. Second guy I want to bring in, I've got to get rid of Wes Agar myself, who I've had for about 4 rounds. He's been going like a bit like a busted after averaging a sneaky sort of 65 to start the season. So I brought in Jason Behrendorff. Simple fix, if he's not named, I'll just go to another Scorchers quick. I don't think you can go wrong if you load up on those guys and just rotate them. And the third guy for me, I'm having a really, really big look at either bringing in Baxter Holt as enough so I can loop in Joe Clark, or alternatively bringing in one of Ollie Davies or David Warner. Now, I think the Thunder have got a sneaky good draw for these 2 single game weeks. They firstly go down to Hobart, who are terrible and can't bowl. So I think that their batters are due to go big. And then they play against the Renegades, who have lost their 2 best bowlers down at Marvel Stadium, which is a good place to bat as well. So I think that not many people will be looking at the Thunder because they don't have those doubles. And one of those guys who could go big. I've been pretty cock-a-hoop about Warner all week, but just watching Ollie Davies last night, he's really sort of whet my appetite. So could be bringing in one of those or Baxter Holt with my trade if Joe Clark, my wicketkeeper loop, goes off. So that's what I'm thinking right now.
Oh, very, very nice. Very nice. Ted, how are you looking this week? What do you think about trading?
Well, yeah, look, definitely just coming off the back of Maxi there. Ollie Davies, has he just started to hit it or what? Last year there was a bit of talk about this kid coming in and I don't think that they really utilised him well. And this year, if there is someone who's going to have what's called the breakout season, it's definitely Ollie. He's just tempting me. But his price, when he first came in, off the bat, I think he was like 60, 70 grand, and now he's almost put 100,000 on. Well, he's one that I just might have just missed, Brad. I think I've missed him, but I will go to my trade so far, and I've only made 2. And I'm getting rid of me junk out of the Stars because I think that they're probably the worst team in the competition this year. They are just freaking rubbish. Ever since Bolt's gone, they are just rubbish. So Stoine's gone, and I hate to say that because everyone loves the Stoine. And I think Bowie Webster even though he got 81 out of his double last week, I don't think he really hit like what he could have. But as a player, very impressed with him. He's just such a big, huge individual. Covers the pitch really easy, makes batting look easy, makes bowling look easy. I think he's on my to-have list next year, but Bowie's gone. And then my last two trades, which I'm bringing in Jewel, I'm bringing in Head, and I do think I'm going to go off of Maxi again. I'm going to get rid of Agar. Don't know what I was doing bringing him in, like bringing in a spinner, in a team from Perth where it's on a track where they just build them down. No. God, I don't know what I was thinking. Don't know who I'm going to come up with yet because I'm short of funds on Wade. I'm short of funds on Labuschagne. I don't know who I'm going to get yet, but that's where I'm sitting at, boys. Bringing in Jewel because he's just going gangbusters. Bringing in Head, Stoyne and Webster out. So I think I might even do a live trade through the show somewhere. But that's where I'm at, blokes.
The one point you've both raised so far is the word Agar. Now, if any player has the name Agar in it, trade them the fuck out of your team. That's all I can recommend. Agar is just like from Adelaide. He just looks like slugging and dead set. Unfortunately for Aston, he's batting way too low with the scorchers on fire at the top end, so they're not going to get a bat. Well, we saw him bowling at the SCG in the Test match, and he plays at the SCG this coming week. And I'm not even convinced he can spin it, even for a 5 cent movement. I'm a third-grade cricketer, and I think I can probably outspin him at the moment. So his form is not. He's just getting belted just quietly. A bit like Luke Wood from the Stars. He seems to be he's good cannon fodder at the moment too for anybody. The minute he rolls in, so if you got him, you're probably selling. How are you going, Roscoe? What are you trading?
Yeah, I'm gonna be trading out my stud that I bought in for the doubling pod of Cam Boyce. What a disaster zone that was. I don't know what I was thinking jumping on him for a whole 17 points in 2 games. So he's gone. Nessa's gonna go because he's not. I know he got 0 and I know he's in form, but I need the cash. And then almost my other players are double gamers or other players that I don't want to sell. So I can get rid of him with a break even of 157 and bring him back for the double. And at the moment, I'm definitely bringing in Travis Head. I'm looking at bringing in Tom Rogers from Renegades as well. And the other trade, I'm not sure yet. It's probably either going to be Jewel or someone else. I'm not sure yet. I don't know at this stage. I'm not sure. I'm really not sure with any of my trades this week at the moment, given how I'm going. I'm not convinced by anything at this stage, man, to be honest with you. So we'll see what happens. But I like Max's point of targeting the all-rounders for the single gamers. But there isn't really any I can see that are worth targeting, to be honest with you. It's interesting to see on the top 10 list of trade ins, the people are actually jumping on Daniel Sands. Now, round 3 averages 3.7 or whatever it is. But to be fair on that, he hasn't bowled much. Like he only bowled 1 and a bit last night. Well, but you need him to be bowling first so that he can get these 4 overs in and then maybe have something to bat at. But I don't think you can gauge him off 2 games, the last 2 games in particular. First game before that, he only bowled 1 over and then went off with a bit of an injury as well that other game. So he's only 130k. He's cheap. He's probably one of those players that you could easily bring in for a single game, but I just can't go there. I sold him a few weeks ago and he went big, and then I traded him back in, and then he's gone like 3, 5, and 3 or something. So I don't know if I can go there again. But the other one that's not a bad option either, but he's a bit expensive now, is Will Sutherland, who's lifted his game since Andre Russell left too. He might be another sneaky one, and also even Sam Harper too, in a bit of form too. So I don't know. I'm that far back that I need to start looking for some pod moves. I might even not even go Travis Head, maybe go Carey instead, because I don't think when you're going to jump on Carey, and he'll open, he should open. I just think he might even be a better option, to be honest with you. But it depends on how the strikers fire. Like they didn't fire the other night and got all out really cheap, as we've seen. You know, they were very vulnerable in that batting lineup the other day. It only had like, I think it was 5 or 6 batters in that team. So obviously Grandhome will come back in if he's okay. He's in the squad. I don't know yet. I might just pull three pod moves and just try and catch up. If it doesn't happen, then so be it. I've got to do something.
Yeah, that's you know, I guess Head is going to be one of the most traded in. And I'm looking at him. I think he's right at the top of the list at the moment. I did pull apart, and I mentioned this earlier this morning to Roscoe. I did pull apart some stats on current bowling attacks over the last 4 rounds, and the strikers and the Heat are the worst, right? And so it's almost worthwhile not even looking at either a striker or a Heat bowler. I mean, yeah, I don't know what. A lot of it comes on the back of their batters scoring very low totals, so that means that their bowlers don't even get a chance to get bonus points and things like that because they're not really bowling at a huge total. So a bit of it does come on the back of that. But believe it or not, the Stars aren't the worst; they're close. But yeah, those 2 teams, bowlers certainly are suffering, Supercoach wise, and you know you're much better off going to a Sixer or a Scorcher. Even a Thunder, and believe it or not, even some of the Hobart ones, despite the fact the team is not looking that flash at the moment, Supercoach wise, you actually there's a few points there. Like we said, Ellis got 81 in the last round. Jules been kicking goals. McDermott can turn it on at any time. So these are all, you know, Supercoach sort of goal players, despite the fact the team is not looking that flash at all. This brings
I reckon
us
on
to
that point, Brad.
Yeah.
Sorry, just very quickly on that
Yeah.
point. What you said about the strikers' bowling attack is really true, and that people are kind of holding on to these ideas that they're like a top of the table team, given how they started with like Thornton on fire. Wes Agar was taking bags of wickets. Rashid Khan was just tying people in knots, not necessarily taking wickets, but just not allowing runs off them. But they've been awful the last few games, and I think for me that really brings in a few guys from the Brisbane Heats, particularly if you're in a spot like Ted's where you might be looking to sort of save some money to try and find some sort of different batting options, particularly given that they've got the double game week, the next one. Their draw's not that bad, and playing at the Adelaide Oval tonight, like that's going to be pretty good. So a guy like Josh Brown, 94K, perfect batting loop for this week if you can afford to bring him in. There's a little bit of a chatter about Usman Khawaja as well as a decent option. He's not that cheap, but you know he's not the worst option. He's sort of bit rocks or diamonds, and even Marnus. Like no one's mentioned Marnus this week. I don't love him. I'm going to wait a week. I think with his bowling, they've gotten rid of Ross Whiteling in the team, so that sort of means that he's rusted on for potentially a few more overs, particularly if the left-handers and Carey and Head are out early. He could bowl his 4 because everyone else is a right-hander, and that's what they prefer the leg spin for. But there's a bit of value, I think, if you look at the Heat batters this week up against that bad strikers bowling unit on Adelaide Oval for round 10.
Can I ask you quickly, Max, and Colin, a couple of players, what you think? First one's obviously Spencer Johnson. Did he look good that game against the other night he played? The only thing that worries me is his job security with him. Is he someone that you'd recommend jumping on or waiting to see what happens with Steckity?
No, absolutely not. No, wouldn't go near Johnson. Wouldn't go near any of the Brisbane bowlers at all. In fact, I got Michael Nisa, and even though I love having an all-rounder in the batter spots, I'm thinking he's potentially on the chopping block for me, just because if he scores another 0 like he did this week, for me, then that's just, there's no point in holding him for the double if he's only going to score 80 points or something in that. Spencer Johnson, don't like him. He's decent, but I think that if you really want a cheap guy, Rawana Kelapotha from Melbourne Renegades is the guy to bring in. His job security is amazing. He should have had 3 for last night and this round and picked up sort of 80 or 90. Amazing late season downgrade option that you can legitimately play in any round up against the Melbourne Stars this week, which is a good matchup for him. So he'd be the guy I'd look at for sure.
What about Matty Renshaw? Any chance you think he might get a couple of overs with Whiteley out of the team?
I think he is a chance to bowl for sure. I just don't love his game, the Supercoach. Like from time to time, he can sort of string it together. But the problem with the Brisbane Heat is between Usman, Marnus, and Renshaw, they've got 3 blokes who don't play a shot until they get to 20. Like these guys all want to face 20 balls, get to 20, and then sort of turn it on. So they're just batting way too slow.
Yeah.
I just don't love Renshaw. I think that the pressure from Usman not scoring quick enough, the pressure from Marnus not scoring quick enough just really heaps up on his shoulders. We saw it last time with a cheap dismissal. He's not bad for sure, but I think there's better. And look, like to be honest, Josh Brown, like he's the one who's screaming out from the Brisbane Heat attack. He could just come in easily, smack a 60 off 20 like he did against the Sydney Sixers, against this bad Adelaide attack tonight on the Adelaide Oval. Loop him in 80 off the bench, happy days. And to be fair, I know Jules talk of the town, and it's easy for me saying this because I'm an owner and I love him being a pod. But for the price and the matchup against the Sydney Thunder, the Thunder are a decent bowling attack. I'd much prefer having a Josh Brown this round, particularly because you can loop him. Jules a tough one because you've got to start him on field with that late game.
No, that's good
Yeah.
point.
I mean,
I've actually in the article on our Facebook page, one of our buys this week was Kalia Watapata from the game. No, look, I was really impressed watching him. I thought he had a fantastic game, and he looks 100% what you said. He looks safe, and it's 57,000. Oh my God, what a nice little downgrade that would be if you want to create some dough. And there is a few teams out there needing to create dough. That's a lovely little downgrade, and he will be bowling in the next few games. So, that's a great point there. Now, as I said, we won't be doing a pod for this. This is really a pod for the next 2 rounds because everything we're saying stands for the next 2 rounds anyway. What you've got to do, and we're all agreeing on this, is get rid of the crap out of your team and just get in your keepers. It's time to just get in those that are going to score your points. But one thing that has caused a lot of debate around this morning, and Maxi, you might have heard a bit of this in some of the chat platforms, is a lot of people talking about whether Nisa is a hold or whether Sam's is a hold. I've actually listed Nisa as a hold, but then again, I've got a lot of cash. So, I'm thinking, well, I don't give a shit about the cash. But I guess some people look at that massive BE of 157 and go, geez, we've got to sell here. Same with Sam's. He's got a break even of over 120. He's probably going to lose some cash. What are people's thoughts? Who wants to have a stab at this one?
I'm happy to weigh in. I think for me, Sam's just doesn't look right. I think there's still a bit of a lingering injury there. I think they don't really have many better options. It's really only Joel Davies who's the guy who could come in. So the fact that they can cover him with Ben Cutting's overs, they might as well have him out there and just hope he does something. I think he's a hold just because I don't think there's many sort of better options. Although if you can put him on your bench and loop him in, then that's good. Nice is a super interesting one because you're looking at this Brisbane draw and on paper it's amazing. Like they go to Adelaide on Adelaide Oval, which could be a really high scoring game. They've got the Melbourne Stars who aren't very good, which could be a fantastic matchup. Then they're in the double in round 12 versus Hobart and Melbourne Stars, which are 2 really good matchups. And then they finish with Hobart as well. Like it's almost the best draw in the whole comp. But the facts is that he takes wickets in games where it's swinging around. I don't know if the conditions are going to necessarily suit him that well when he's playing next round at the MCG. Just hasn't looked that good, particularly with the bat. So I think that the all-rounder thing's not really working him. So could go either way. I'm trying to find a way to hold him just as an extra body for the double in round 12, which, semi-finals for head-to-heads if I'm lucky enough to get there. But look, I wouldn't be against anyone wanting to sell him, especially if they can get in like a genuine gun. But yeah, it's really tough trying to pick players at the moment because there's so many guys who are out of form and not many bowlers who are in form at the moment.
How many of those games are at the Gabba, Maxi?
2 of them. So both of their games on the double are in the Gabba. So he's a good bloke.
He's a nearly then for the double, and if they're both in the Gabba,
just about. Yeah, just about. But even until then, like he's a tough hold. It's also just tough trying to figure out sells this week because basically, if your name's not Agar, then you almost want to kind of hold them. So yeah.
What about you, Ted? You holding any of those 2? Or?
Well, look, I've never had either of them in my team, but just listening to the chat. Like spark the live trade. This has happened now, and just listening to the to the combined genius of the group, I'm very impressed. Now, look, what I've decided to do, of course, I'm coming 1,700 and I'm just a sniff behind Roscoe. Got to make me move. So I'm trading out. This is a live trade and I'm going to stick to it. Trading out Ty because listening to Maxi, the Dorf is hot. So Ty will come in, soften him up, and Dorf will take a fiver, and Ty will get a nunfer. So it's Ty out, and I'm bringing in Lynn in. Now I do like Califopper. I do like some of these cheap options. They are great, but I think if I'm going to make my final push, I'm going to go for a guaranteed gun. Chris Lynn, bringing him in. So they're me three guys. Lynn, Jewel, Head, Stein out, Webster out, Ty out. I can bring Ty back in for his double easy. I have made lots of money, but I just fall a sniff short of bringing in some of these guns. So Ty's got to go. But hey, just backing the truck up. And here's a question which I'd like to ask Maxi, though. Listening to Tim Williams and his crew, and shout out to them. I think that they're industry leaders and I really enjoy the stuff which they do. But I'm more than interested to know about this new package which he's working on up there at the Playbook, Maxi. And apparently there's a new stats package which they're going to come up with next year. Have you had any input to it, or can you tell us anything about it so our listeners have got a heads up on what's going on at the Playbook, mate?
Yeah, absolutely. And look, the first thing that the stats package would tell you would be don't sell Andrew Ty, because he's just about the best bowler in the game.
True. But at 1,700, ranked 1,700, I've just got to make me play. I've got to make me play.
He might get a rest, but that's a big balls move, Ted. And I think the other thing is Chris Lynn's only got one game left, so unless you're happy to sell again next week, then he's
I'm backing it up. I'm backing it up. Thanks, Maxi. Yeah, but hey, mate, you give us all a heads up about what the Williams crew's doing up there, because honestly, you've only got to look at the results on the board. Everything that comes out of that system there is pretty much gold. So, we've all got the same aim. So give us a heads up, please, bro.
Look, the SC Playbook data center, I haven't had a peek behind the curtain yet, but we all did have a lot of spitballing about what would be the kind of information that Supercoach experts would want to know. The kind of stats that can really help you get an advantage, really kind of building on top of the things that you get out of a gold package from that, and even just bringing in lots of stats that are on different websites. So things about draw, things about teams and oppositions, who's giving up the most points, who's in form, who's out of form, who's getting to 20 the most times, who's consistent, who's hitting the most sixes. So some of these questions which you ask yourself, some of these things that might be sort of a gut feel, you'll be able to back up and get like a really good insight through the data center. So they created it during the NRL season. It was a really, really cool asset just to find out things like break evens and 3-round averages and 5-round averages and sort of, pick your scores in that way. And this has been one that's been done really specifically with cricket in mind, just for people like me who just love the game, love cricket, love Supercoach, and this just combines it really perfectly. So really hoping it's going to launch soon. But like not only the data center, the year ahead and the plans ahead for the Playbook are absolutely massive. You're going to be seeing a lot more video content. They're going to finally unmask the SC spy.
Unmask the spy. Hey, unmasking the spy. And mate, hey, look, just button in there, Maxi. Tell me, what does Josh Brown put in his bats? Is he putting some extra lead in them? Are they like 20 pounders? Are they 30 pounders? How does he hit it so far, mate? What are they doing at that factory?
Mate, I wish I knew, but geez, I want one of them, don't they? They look good. They look very good.
Mate, Josh Brown, Series 1, collector's item in 20 years' time, mate. That'll be worth a fortune. Get one and stash it if you can, Maxi.
Good shout.
All right. Well, we're just we're getting near towards the end of our time, but we're going to have a quick captain's wrap. So, Roscoe, what is your captain and vice captain wrap? What are you reckoning?
I think like everyone else, the BC will be on Matty Short, obviously. The C, I don't, to be honest with you, I really have no idea at this stage. Scorchers have got a tough match up against the Sixers. So I don't know if I like anyone in that one. It's probably going to have to be some sort of pod player. I just don't know who. I mean, that's the thing, because I've got so many Scorchers and so many Sixers that I don't even know who I'm going to even go on at this stage. So, yeah, don't know, mate. Sorry. I just know my VC and that's it at this stage, mate. It all depends on my trades, honestly, as well. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I'm like everybody on the planet. I'll be having the VC on short. I mean, he plays the first game. It makes sense. I like, believe it or not, I like Abbott. Abbott has done me really well this year. I've looped him twice for a really, really good captain score, and I've managed to avoid him when he's got the shit score. So I think back at the SCG, I think Abbott is not a bad shout out. Maxi, who are you looking at for captain?
Yeah, VC Matt Short every day of the week, and I think it'll be between Behrendorff, Ty, or Sean Abbott as well. I don't mind the Jason Behrendorff move if you've got him or you grab him this week. He's got a pretty good record on the SCG, and so I know that particularly guys like Josh Philippi are really troubled by left-handers who swing the ball back in. So he could be a real pod move. It'll be one of those three for sure. I also don't mind Hayden Kerr. Little bit of a bounce back season, bowling death now with Chris Jordan gone. So it might just depend on the toss, like a death bowler bowling in the first innings, or even a batter chasing when he knows his total and he can control that. So yeah, we'll figure it out. But it's a lot of time to play out between now and then.
Ted, who are you thinking about for your captains?
Well, mate, honestly, this is like, I've got to make it now, so I'm going something different. I'm not touching Short, even though he's on my team. I'm going to go VC Jewel, because he's in such red-hot form. It's such a small ground, and he's going to smash a couple of hundred. And then I'm going to roll it over to Abbott, because he's going to say to these Scorchers, you're in our backyard here. This is the G. You can go over there to the west where it's real bouncy and that, but we're going to have you in our backyard and we're going to do you like toast. So if Jewel can't do it, Abbott will, and that's where I'm at, Brado. That's where I'm at.
Beautiful.
There you go, Roscoe. Heads up. you know I'm coming to get you, mate. I'm coming to get you.
Hey, one we haven't mentioned, we've got about a minute, but what anybody liking Nathan Lyon at the SCG?
No.
Yeah, it's a tough one because I love Todd Murphy so much, so I kind of hope that he stays in the team. But like a couple of years ago, Nathan Lyon was like a 160k Supercoach prospect. Like he was averaging 60 plus, like really, really good. But he's been off the boil in Big Bash for a couple of seasons. So if he finds his form again, then he's an amazing pod. But probably not enough left-handers in that Perth lineup to make him a grab this week. But yeah, certainly on the watch list for sure because he's so cheap.
All right, folks. Well, that's about it. Good luck, everybody, for the next 2 rounds. Like we've all said, get rid of your crap. Get in the guns that you can. Do a bit of research. Pop over to the playbook. Thanks, Maxi. Thanks, Roscoe. And thanks, Ted, for your first appearance this year, mate.
Thanks, gentlemen. It's been a pleasure. Good luck, everyone. Good luck, all you coaches.
All right. Good luck, everybody. Thank you.
Cheers.
Oh, that's a wrap.